Holland has always been a place of self-determination and self-reliance. And Holland has also been a place that has established its vision and always done the hard work necessary to see that its vision becomes a reality. Matter of fact, over 120 years ago, the residents of our community got together and decided to take control of their energy destiny. They did so by voting to move out of the kerosene era and begin operating their first power plant in 1893. They did so again in 1940 by the building of our James DeYoung Power Station. Each decision was visionary. Each decision took significant investment. But each decision was based upon the recognition by our community that affordable, reliable energy was a key to our prosperity and our growth. That has never changed. What has changed is the fact that today we understand that the infrastructure we build in our community must be held to a higher standard of sustainability and stewardship. We're aware of the impacts that we have on our natural world. And we know that the infrastructure that we build has to be protective of our environment for generations to come. And actually, environmental considerations and concerns were a key part of the sustainable return on investment process that this community undertook in reaching our power generation decisions this time around. And what an amazing process it was. For weeks and months, members of this community came together to learn and to discuss, and yes, even at times debate, the different options, the different merits and costs and benefits of the various power generation options that were in front of us. It all took place within the context of a larger community energy plan, a plan that has a goal of making the Holland community a world-class, efficient city. Sometimes the work was challenging and difficult, but in the end, the outcome was a community-driven proposition. This is an exceptional community that took out to perform an exceptional process. And now our challenge is to do the will of the community and to build an exceptional facility. Holland Energy Park will be that facility. It will be that facility not only because it's going to generate power efficiently and cleanly for our homes and our businesses, but also it's going to provide heat for a growing snowmelt system and hold the potential for district energy for our future. It also is going to provide access to green space around our facility that ultimately will be able to connect to natural trails and parkland. It also is going to be an educational resource for our community, a place where people can come and learn about the community's energy past and future. And finally, it's going to provide a strikingly bold, modern, eastern gateway to our community. It took a lot of hard work from a number of different people to bring us to this point today, to be able to be at this threshold that we're about to cross. But one characteristic that came throughout the process was that all that were involved had a desire to see what's best for our community and for our planet. And how appropriate it is today that it's the day before Earth Day that we're here able to celebrate this amazing facility.
We were here since the building of Big Red.
With the speakers that are going to follow me today, you'll be able to have an opportunity to learn even more about this amazing facility. I'm pleased to have many of our project partners here and for them to be able to talk about their goals and objectives and their expected outcomes at the end of the project. But before we do that, I think it's very important to recognize the leadership of our Holland Board of Public Works board members. Without their vision, none of this would have been possible. Our board always looks to the future and understands that the role that the BPW must play in ensuring that Holland remains a vibrant community. The leadership of our board matters, and it has for over 100 years. So I am very pleased to bring up our next speaker. Our next speaker is our board president. Please welcome Tim Hemingway, Board President of the Holland Board of Public Works.
Wow, great turnout today. I'm speaking to you as a community volunteer. All of our members, voting members of the Holland Board of Public Works, are volunteers from our community. And we are extremely fortunate to have a very diverse board. And I'd like to just take a moment and recognize them individually and ask them to stand when I call their names. First and foremost is Paul Elzinga, if he would please stand. Then we have Diane Hayworth. Then we have Phil Miller. Where's Phil? Up there's Phil. And then we have Jim Story. Thank you, all four of you, for your great leadership. What's a really fun thing about our board is that each one of us bring particular attributes that complement each other and make us a true force to be reckoned with when it comes to really working on behalf of our community. And in addition to the 5 voting members, we also have 2 liaison, and that's on the board from the city, and that is Mayor Pro Tem Bob Vandervussy and our city manager, Ryan Cotton. And last but not least, I think he's out there in the audience, that I'd like to have stand, is Gary Skolton. Gary, where are you? Gary is a recent member of the board. And what's important about Gary, besides being a great guy, is that he comes as a representative of the townships that we serve. And so he's bringing that voice and also communicating back to the townships as far as what's going on at BPW. Because today we're talking to you about electricity. Well, guess what? We do a lot more than electricity. We provide obviously the fresh water, the wastewater systems, and also broadband to our community. 4 very, very important aspects in keeping our economy vibrant and one that is open arms for businesses wanting to locate here. Now, Dave talked about visionary. I have to compliment also our team, the professionals at BPW, because this project, as Dave mentioned, has been in the making for over 10 years, or about 10 years. And it's really taking a look at what are the needs of this community, not just today, not in 20 years from now, but 40 years from now. What do we need to put in place long term to ensure that we have a vibrant infrastructure to serve our community now and in the 40 plus years ahead of us? We talk about today, 2015. I'll tell you, already at work at BPW on an ongoing basis, our team members and board members taking a look at 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 20 years ahead on what do we need to put in place to ensure that Holland is the destination for not only the residents, but especially the businesses that will employ those residents in the years to come. It is a key part of our economy. When we talk to our customers, and just give you a reference point, in excess of 80% of the power that is supplied to the customers in the greater Holland community goes to industrial and commercial customers. That is a very, very different percentage compared to most communities throughout the country. The backbone that we have is in being able to provide highly reliable and very cost-effective services to all of those industries and ultimately to our residents in the community. So it creates what we refer to as a competitive advantage. Why locate in Holland? Why stay in Holland? The key is we have got an infrastructure that is superb. And we, as a board and as the management team of BPW, plan on keeping us on that course, not now, just now, but for the years ahead. At this stage, I'd like to introduce a gentleman who's sitting next to me in the audience, and he has been leading our city for a number of years now, and I'd like to, at this point, to introduce Mayor Kurt Dykstra. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Congratulations to the board. Dave Koster, congratulations to you for all of the efforts and labors that are now seeing some fruition in a tangible way as we gather here today, as well as the entire team of the Board of Public Works. I am Kurt Dykstra, currently the mayor of the city of Holland, and it gives me great pleasure to stand before you on this day. I can tell you that this day is a long time in coming. In fact, the project that we're here to kick off today really spans at least 2 board chairs of the Board of Public Works. It spans at least 2 general managers of the Board of Public Works. It spans at least 2 city managers of the City of Holland. It spans many members of the City Council and Board of Public Works Board. And it will span at least 2, a third as well, mayor of the City of Holland. We have been talking about this energy future for our community for a good number of years. And we have been talking and thinking, and the plans have been changing and coming to fruition because the energy world is a very rapidly changing world, subject to not only the market, but also to the regulators. And over that time, we came up with different ideas that came and then they went. And throughout this process, we have had probably the most robust public participation process I can ever imagine a project like this ever having. And in fact, today's groundbreaking of this particular plant was one of at least 8 different options that were the last choices. Not 8 total, but 8 that were the last choices for us to look at. And ultimately, based upon a myriad of factors, this was the best option for this community. In fact, this has been going on for so long that I do recall thinking on more than one occasion it would be a very cold day in a very warm place before we ever come to a spot to reach the decision. And then I stepped outside this morning. And I wanted to call Dave and say, let's get those shovels ready quickly because we need to get this thing going. Speaking of which, as Tim mentioned, the electric utility is but one of but 4 utilities that the BPW has, and there's another project going on at this particular moment with one of the other ones, the wastewater treatment facility. And in homage to that plant, we will not actually be throwing dirt or sand today. We'll be throwing sludge from the wastewater treatment plant. No, we will not. Let me conclude with perhaps something that might not be immediately obvious unless you've been paying attention and have been involved in this process over these many years. And it is this. In addition to all of the many benefits that this plant will have for the next 40 years for this community, it's important to note that the way we got to today has involved many different people and many different jurisdictions. In fact, where we stand today, not long ago, was not even located within the city of Holland, but rather within Holland Charter Township. The electric utility serves 5 jurisdictions: the city of Holland, Holland Charter Township, Park Township, Fillmore Township, and Laketown Township. I can tell you that the process we undertook and the relationships that we have built to get us to this day are really quite extraordinary. And in particular, I want to say a special thanks and a special word of appreciation to our friends and partners and fellow Hollanders in Holland Charter Township. Because absent their cooperative efforts and absent their view of this plant as being an important piece of infrastructure for the entire community, I don't think we'd be standing here today, or certainly not standing here in this fashion. So specifically, I know Terry Nienhuis is here, the supervisor of Holland Charter Township, as well as Don Comey, the township manager of Holland Charter Township, are here. So I would like to ask us to express appreciation to them as well. As we look into the future for what this plant and this facility holds for our future, Tim summed it up quite well. We're going to have excellent control of our energy future. And many of you perhaps were listening to the governor's message not long ago about energy in the state of Michigan. I'm a huge fan of the governor, and I think he has done extraordinarily good things for this state. But I did think when I read his comments and saw his presentation, basically he cribbed our plan. If you look at what he is talking about doing in Michigan, it lines up almost identically with what we are trying to do here in Holland. And I think that is a very good thing, obviously, for us, but it's also a very, very good thing for Michigan. And we're pleased today to have one of, representing the administration in the state of Michigan, one of the commissioners from the Public Service Commission, Greg White, to address the audience and provide some comments for us.
Thank you, Mayor Dykstra, very much. On behalf of Governor Rick Snyder, I want to express his regrets for not being here, and I will make sure that he feels bad for not being here. As Mayor Dykstra has expressed, this project is exactly in line with what Governor Snyder has been promoting, and we've been spending a lot of time working for many, many years on trying to develop how do we go forward with Michigan's energy future. And I will report back that we need to look at what's going on in Holland and in this community as a model for how we should be doing things at the state level as well. Certainly, the governor's message of sustainable, reliable, and affordable energy with an eye to protection of the environment is exactly what this project embodies. So I've been involved with energy utilities for over 30 years now, and I was telling Dave Koster that I don't know that I've ever seen a process as good as the process that's been used here in this community. It's truly a model that should be looked at by the rest of the state in any kinds of projects that we're doing. The inclusion of the community in a community-driven process, the integration into the community natural space, the eye towards affordability and reliability, are clearly the kinds of things that we need to be doing and we should be doing. And I also want to stress the importance of the efficiency of not only this system, but the efficiency that's being developed into the community plan as well. Really is visionary, and again, is really something that we should be looking at as a model for the future. And so with that, I would just like to congratulate Mayor Dykstra, congratulate the Board of Public Works for this outstanding project. It's my pleasure to be here on behalf of Governor Rick Snyder, and I want to thank you and congratulate you all.
Well, you know, a project like this can't happen without tremendous partners. And we've had a number of them, and really too many to single out individually. Frankly, it goes back to the development of our evaluations, to ultimately permitting, financing, land acquisition, and now into the construction phase. But one partner that I will mention, and as our next speaker, is somebody that represents the organization that's been with us all along the way. It's been great having HDR walking side by side with us as we've gone through a sustainable return on investment process. And then when we've had architects in to help the community define what this gateway was going to become, again, HDR was there to assist us with that. And now as we're going through the project execution and the actual construction, HDR is representing us as our owner's engineer on the project and is staying true to our vision. And so I would like to bring up Jim Connell. Jim is the Senior Vice President at HDR, and allow him to make a few remarks. Jim?
Thanks, Dave. First and foremost, I'd just like to say how pleased and how proud I am to be here today. It has truly been a long journey to get where we are today. But it was a journey that produced an outstanding vision and outcome and was frankly well worth taking. As Dave Koster mentioned, HDR performed a Sustainable Return on Investment, or SROI, evaluation of a wide variety of power options to meet Holland's energy needs, using the Holland Community Energy Plan as our guideline. Mayor Dykstra mentioned 8 alternatives. I bet you there were 64 when we started, and 8 was our short list. So we looked at all kinds of different options. Our SROI evaluation is a unique, quantitative cost-benefit assessment that considers not just financial and economic considerations, but also social and environmental factors to establish a triple bottom line framework in the evaluation of infrastructure projects. So in other words, it considers not just the economics, but the so-called externalities of projects and social and environmental impacts as well. And the SROI evaluation was done with extensive stakeholder and community involvement and input, and even considered input and involvement from people who were opposed to projects. So very open, transparent, and collaborative. The Holland Energy Park was the first ever application of our SROI process to a power project, and honestly, I think it sets a pretty high bar. The Holland Energy Park, the natural gas-fired combined cycle project, emerged as clearly the best alternative, not only from a financial and economic analysis, but also from a sustainable return on investment point of view. But the HBPW didn't stop reaching out to the community with the SROI process. Rather, they engaged a blue ribbon panel of community stakeholders and leaders to define what the project would look like and how it would be integrated into the community. I can tell you that what we are celebrating today is a long ways away from the ugly but functional power plant that our engineers originally sketched up. Other speakers have alluded to it as well, but from my experience, what makes the Holland Energy Park so unique was the process. By that I mean the transparent and collaborative community engagement process that HBPW drove throughout and consistently. The HBPW actively engaged and solicited input and feedback from all sides. Regional stakeholders, the community, leaders, industry, everyone, and did so at every step in evaluating their options. Frankly, the engineer in me thought they were nuts. But the results speak for itself. The Holland Energy Park project that we are breaking ground for today represents so much more than just a power plant. It's a win-win asset for the HBPW and the Holland community. A showplace, it's a gateway, and it will provide the Holland community with efficient, environmentally sound, reliable, and cost-effective electric power for many, many years to come. And HDR is extremely proud to have played a small part in this journey. Thank you.
Our next speaker, if you haven't noticed, there is some rather large equipment outside, and it's going to be able to perform a lot of good work very efficiently and effectively. Our next speaker is our next partner associated with this project, and a very key one, obviously. Barton-Mallow was selected as being our engineering, procure, and construct contractor for this job, and they put together a great team to carry out the work associated with that. And it's my pleasure really to have got to know some of the individuals from Barton-Mallow. It's a family-owned business. Met individuals from the third generation of that family. That family started the business back in 1924, and it was formed in Michigan. It's been a Michigan company, you know, all through those years. And what I think is most impressive, in addition to their resume of work that they've done and the number of projects they've done, is a couple of things. One, they were able to really adhere to our vision throughout this process, and that's one of the reasons that they were selected for this job. But I've also been impressed after they've been on the job that without any solicitation, one of the first things they've done is they've actually been very key in sponsoring a very large sponsorship associated with the Tulip Time event. I think they understand when it's time to come into a community and do a job that it's more than just the job they're doing, it's how they impact the community in lots of ways. And I'm very encouraged by what they've expressed to us about that willingness to integrate and be part of our community over the duration of this project. And so, you know, our next speaker, I'd like to bring up Chuck Binkowski. Chuck is a Senior Vice President for the Central Region of Barton-Mallow. Thank you.
Wow, he said about everything I wanted to cover, so it should be quick. No, the one overwhelming feeling I had when I was listening to the other speakers is this has been going on for a long time. I'm really feeling anxious that we need to get going. Wow, but hey, it's exciting, and as Dave mentioned, we're really excited. There's only one thing that I really enjoy a lot more than a groundbreaking as I look forward to coming back for the opening or the dedication or the ribbon cutting for this project after the successful build. But what I want to share with you, many of you are woven throughout this community. Barton-Mallow comes in, even though, as Dave mentioned, 90 plus years in the business as a Michigan-based firm, we're bringing that here to this job. We understand working in this great state of Michigan and what it means. And we understand the local community. The one thing that is woven within the Barton-Mallow company and the family are really the 3 points I want to make to you today. And look at this as kind of our commitment to the community of Holland and where we go. Woven in our fabric is kind of our, we call it our values, our core purpose. And it talks about people, projects, and community. And when we talk about people, many of them are around you today. If you take a look around and you see all those bright yellow vests, I would encourage you, when this is wrapped up, to talk to any one of those individuals that wear a Barton-Mallow hard hat or a vest, among others, and get their feeling on these things that I'm going to tell you about, because it's our commitment to you today as the builder on this job. One, on the people. Our number one goal will be the safety for the people on this project that kept coming in and out every day. Our goal is that the people that work here will go home the same way, if not better, than they came in every day. That is a commitment to the surrounding people around the project or the community at whole, that we keep you informed of things that we're doing on this job that affect the community to make sure that everybody is safe in this environment. That's our commitment. A goal of zero. We have a goal of 0 recordables for this project. And we look to the team and we look collectively to meet those requirements. Next is projects. I've been fortunate to be with Barton-Mallow over 34 years or so now. And I'll tell you, I never get tired of the excitement that these projects bring. This is an exciting job. I mean, have we built power plants? Yes, that's why they've hired us. We have a resume. Other things that we built around the community. But it's really neat to set goals like we do. I believe, and I may be checked on this comment, but a goal on this job to have Envision Platinum status, I think it would be the first of its kind. So that gets me excited. As a builder, for those of you that want to know more about Envision Platinum status, we'll talk afterwards. We don't have that time to cover that. But it's an exciting process that happens for reaching objectives in the build of this job and on this project. I would be remiss in not mentioning, the team environment that we have here and the partners that we are very, very fortunate to have on this job with Zachary, which is our process engineering partner, and Progressive AE is from our engineering side also, have really come with us and embraced what everybody up here has said is what this project really means to Barton-Mallow, to the community. So I would just encourage those members of that. I know we got a great showing from those firms here today, and it just shows the commitment here. Then the community side of it, last but not least, hey, we're pleased to plug into local events and community. That's who we are. That's part of the company. We understand what it means to come into these areas. Not to mention, people are talking about, wow, what is some of the impact that we can have on this community? I leave that to you to think about. Let's put 200 tradespeople out on this job and tell me that's not going to have a very positive impact on the local businesses in this community. Let's talk about the spend that we're committed to from Michigan Spend and what we do and how, because of our roots and where we're from, we look around the state and we truly believe in the quality of the product that we get from our local suppliers and vendors. So the community aspect of it is very important. You'll see us at your festivals. I'm looking forward to it. I've been here many times in the past, but this has a special significance now because I'm meeting a bunch of you today, and I hope to see you around town at these events. So, hey, I'm gonna wrap up, and I thank you for this opportunity to be your chosen builder. I'm proud of our team that we've put together. We want to commit to you those safety goals and that commitment for this project to you. And I really hope that through this process, through this project, and then at the end, that the Barton-Mallow company will become, like I know in many things around and in around Holland, more like a household name, and we'd be definitely part of woven in the fabric of your community. Thank you.
Well, it doesn't happen without technology. And the good news on this project, there's world-class technology being employed. And we've been really excited to be able to build a relationship with our next speaker, his next speaker's firm, and look forward to them working with us not only on the provision of our turbines, the combustion turbines and the steam turbine, but also potentially a lot of equipment throughout the plant. So you might see this name as you walk through the plant at the dedication. You might see it in a lot of places. But they have been very responsive. They have some world-class technology that's going to drive the efficiency of this facility to a point where it's going to provide very cost-effective, environmentally responsible power supply for our community. So with that, I'd like to bring up our next speaker. Barry Nicholls is the head of power generation sales for the firm I'm speaking of, and that is Siemens.
Yeah, we're privileged and honored to participate in this groundbreaking ceremony for the Holland Energy Park. Mayor Dykstra, Commissioner White, Dave Koster, and Tim Hemingway, and all of the board, we're proud to be here, and we thank you for this opportunity. I give you the commitment that the long-term success of the Holland Energy Park will be enthusiastically and fully supported with pride by my company, Siemens. Your confidence in us will not go unrewarded. I'd also like to congratulate and convey a message of going forward cooperation to the other project participants, including HDR and Barton-Mallow. This is fantastic for Holland and for Michigan. As a representative of a global energy company, I can tell you that what is happening here and in some other parts of the country truly symbolizes America's industrial renaissance, the American energy revolution. I'm proud that my company Siemens can deliver our most modern and efficient turbines here to utilize clean burning, low cost American natural gas to benefit the citizens of this community. I was asked by Dave to comment on the technology, and you see a picture of the gas turbine on the screens. And I could bore you with firing temperatures and materials and coatings and all that stuff, but I thought this might be best done with a comparison to something that all of us know something about, how messages get sent. So, you know, we used to send messages by typing them on mechanical typewriters. Anybody remember the old Underwood typewriter? That big black iron, all the old guys just put up their hands. I mean, until I was 10 years old, I couldn't even lift it off the desk. Well, we still have power plants in this country that are like that Underwood typewriter and that vintage. In the 60s, we started using IBM Selectrics. Everybody remembers those. The majority of American generating capacity is about the vintage of the IBM Selectric typewriter. Then we moved from mainframe computers to personal computers with all the wires and boxes and screens and keyboards and all that junk, and then we figured out how to make it into a laptop, so we put everything in one little package. And what do you use now to get a message to anyone? Your iPhone. It's compact, it's elegant, it's beautiful. It can multitask, and when you get a new one, everyone wants to see it, just like the Holland Energy Park. Ladies and gentlemen, by the beginning of 2017, you're going to have the iPhone of power plants right over there. Like your iPhone, the equipment inside is being sourced to make sure that we accumulate the best the world has to offer in this plant. The turbines are currently being manufactured in Europe and will travel from factory to seaport by early summer. They'll come down the St. Lawrence to Detroit and then be trucked here to Holland, arriving early July and August timeframe. We plan these routes with state and local authorities pretty early, and we already know the trucks will enter the city from the east on Chicago Drive, make a right on Fairbanks to come here. The computer controls that will operate all this are being programmed in Alpharetta, Georgia. We have a service network that will support the plant throughout its life via our service operations based in Chicago. Our account manager lives in Ann Arbor. I can assure you that no other project in our American energy business is more exciting than this one, the Holland Energy Park. So Dave, you are doing something here that's just as cool as an iPhone, and we're proud to be with you. Congratulations.
Well, that concludes the speakers that we have, but before we get into the actual groundbreaking ceremony, there's a couple other people that I want to recognize in the audience today. First of all, our neighbors. Very glad to have the Verhaeg family with us today. I don't know if Leo and Mary Burnett are here, but they've are also been very involved. The Outdoor Discovery Center, Macatawa Greenway, Travis Williams. Oh, it's not our last speaker. Oh my goodness. Do you want to say anything today? I read right on here too. I said, who can top the technology thing anyway? I think actually Travis can top the technology thing. Let's not forget that this is the Holland Energy Park. And what that means is we're not only creating a world-class power generation resource, but we're integrating into the community in really unique ways. And I've been very pleased, one of our neighbors is Travis Williams, because they have the property immediately to the north of this facility. And they also have tremendous plans for the Greenway and have had plans for several years. And this can provide a real catalyst for that and for the community in general. And Travis, thank you for what you've been involved in. And I'd like you to come up today and share with the people a little bit about some of your thoughts and hopes associated with this project. So thanks, Travis.
I wasn't sure if my thoughts and hopes were shattered there for a minute, but so I am excited to be here today and have the opportunity to speak on behalf of the community at large. And over the last few decades, our organization has had the opportunity to work with all the cities and townships and counties here in the greater Holland area on a really unique project called the Macatawa River Greenway. And our goal with this project has been to preserve and protect over a 10-mile long corridor that runs from Lake Macatawa to the outer eastern edges of our watershed following the Macatawa River, with the key goal of preserving and protecting the land, connecting that land to the community, to the people that live in this area, for conservation purposes, for recreation purposes, and for overall quality of life that it provides in this area. And I gotta start by telling you that in 1847, when Holland was first settled, the folks that came here had very clear objectives coming here because they wanted a place that had vibrant natural resources. They chose this place because of the water, because of the forest, and because of the resources that it presented for them to build this community that we now live in and enjoy. And that value for the green space, that value for the outdoors still exists today. And I'm proud that I get to live and work in this community because people like you've all heard talk today, the Board of Public Works, Dave and his team, and Kurt, the mayor, and the city, they all have a strong interest in preserving and protecting this natural resource. And the central understanding of all this is that the land and the nature that we have in and around us, we belong to, is all woven together. It's woven together in the same kind of fabric that ensures that our community will always have this natural feature, this natural resource to it. So when the Holland Board of Public Works began this project and I was invited to be part of it, one of the things that came up right away was this idea of park. This last word in the phrase that they use, Holland Energy Park. That is really key to this community because this project is more than just developing a new heart for the city, having a new place that produces electricity and heat to heat our streets. But this park here, this energy park, is about actually integrating that fabric that was started many years ago and integrating it right in through this heart, right in through this energy park. So the land that we own to the north here and the Macatawa River Greenway that stretches nearly 10 miles now through this community will be woven into this project, allowing people to have access to the land, have people more trails to walk on and connect people in the outdoors. During this time period in our development where we're finding that communities and families are spending less and less time outdoors, they're becoming more and more intrigued with their iPhones and their tablets, to the point of where we know that children are spending something like 14 to 16 hours a day in front of electronic media in some families, and a national standard says 10 to 12 hours a day. Having places outdoors where everybody can get out and walk and connect is really important. So I've been privileged to be a part of this project. I'm excited to be where we are today, and I'm pleased to share with you that there are plans that are being developed, plans that are in place for the whole Macatawa River Greenway, but we've actually put together a plan that is back on the back table that will illustrate to you how we can actually connect the Macatawa Greenway trail system that currently dead ends at Windmill Island through a tunnel through the backside of this property, connecting with the trail system around this facility, and take us down in and along the river. And that trail system will be another key piece, another key component of this 10-mile trail system that we're trying to put in along the entire Greenway. The groundbreaking of our facility here is really unique. It's because it's not only the beginning of the new energy plant, but it's the beginning of yet another natural resource that we, the people that live here, can take advantage of and benefit from. This is more than just building an energy park. This is building a bigger and better community. So once again, I want to let you know that I'm excited that I'm able to be here today and talk. And I challenge those who speak about being a part of this community to think about how you can help us make these connections and begin this process of putting this trail system in and integrate this entire energy park into our entire community. I hope I'll be able to talk with many of you about that, and we'll be able to look at ways that when you're doing this work here, you'll be able to build into the greater greenway that we have in our community. To be able to share with you how this energy generation facility will also be an environmental recreational asset to our community is critical. So as you walk away from here, please keep that in mind. We're thrilled to be part of this project. We have staff that are currently working on managing invasive species and working on the integration of the land that we own into this property. And that excites us as an organization. I think it excites us as a community to see that we are connected in so many different ways. So as we work forward, I look forward to being part of this project. I look forward to partnering with BPW, with the city, with those who are working on this project, and we hope that together we can build what is going to be a centerpiece, that new heart for the Holland area, and it will take into consideration both the energy needs, but also the ecological needs of the community. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
I'm sure glad we got to hear that. You should have sat kind of like middle front. Oh, you did actually do that, didn't you? Sorry, Travis. No, I really do also want to recognize our neighbors. The Verhaeg family is here. We've worked also with Leo and Mary Burnett. And also I'd like to recognize Alan Herring, whose facility, atmospheric processing building, was really kind of that first cornerstone of where this power plant development was taking place. I want to pledge to all of you that we're going to be good neighbors through this project and appreciate all of your support and involvement through the process so far. And I also want to recognize our staff. We invited a lot of our power generation people here today as well. These are the men and women that are going to be operating this facility, and they're going to do it in the standard that has been put in place for many, many years as they have operated our James DeYoung plant. They're going to be transitioning over to this facility over the next couple of years, and we're very excited to have them here today to be able to share in this event. And also several others of the 175 individuals at the Board of Public Works that have been involved in this project, from the power generation people all the way through our executive staff, whether it's been involved in the financing aspects, the planning, or now the carrying out of the construction. They played a key role, and they continue to play a key role in that. And one individual in particular I want to recognize is also sitting, right in the second row here, and that's Dan Nally. Dan is our project manager for this facility and has been involved from the inception of its idea through the planning and now in the execution. He is going to be living over at the Brick House. So if you want to see Dan, stop over there. So again, much appreciation for the staff of the Holland BPW.